With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada. From Queen.
The Queen thing has been something amazing for all of us, and it's a real privilege to have that.
To a Queen of Pop.
I'm Olivia Rodrigo.
Hundreds of the biggest names in music are taking over the all-new SiriusXM app with exclusive guest DJs, The Chainsmokers, Peter Frampton, Demi Lovato, Fall Out Boy, and many more. Get closer to everything that moves you wherever you are with new guest DJ sessions. Now in the new SiriusXM app.
Conservative Talk Radio on SiriusXM Patriot. Breitbart News Daily, The David Webb Show, The William Report, Stacey on the Right, Just the News Radio, Sonny's Corner, The Morgan Ortega Show, Breitbart News Saturday, Breitbart News Weekend, and more. Find them all on SiriusXM Patriot. To hear SiriusXM Patriot, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
Diners can enjoy a sandwich named after me, the Webb Witch, while I sit down and talk with candidates, voters, and get their thoughts about the New Hampshire primary and beyond.
David Webb, live from the Red Arrow Theater, starting Monday, January 22nd on SiriusXM Patriot 125.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artist you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Alex Smith, and listening to the NFL playoffs on the all-new SiriusXM app is as easy as throwing a touchdown pass.
Smith will throw. He makes the catch. Touchdown!
Just open the app, click on sports, and find the matchup. Then pick which one of the hometown feeds you want to listen to, and now you're in the game. Plus, when the final whistle sounds, get reaction from hosts on channels like NFL Radio and Mad Dog Sports Radio, all on your phone. And don't forget to check out my show, the SiriusXM Blitz with Alex Smith on NFL Radio Channel 88, in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlie of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me and people who love the universe, and that would include you too. What a beautiful day on a January 18th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them to sit you where the good Lord spit you. If that makes sense to you, give us a praise. We do appreciate that. I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 29 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Good Pods Podcast, and TuneIn Podcast. You can also follow us on GeoSavan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Podtail, YouTube, Hub Hopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast. You ever been a Luminary? I've been a Luminary. Listen Notes Podcast, Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Policy, Podcast Republic, and one that used to scare me but not doesn't is allfees.ai. Give that some praise. The robots are trying to take over. You can also follow on four TV platforms streaming: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Give that some praise. I love giving it praise, praise, praise. You know, there's so many things that I love talking about with reparations. I want to make sure that just like we talk about reparations, I want to make sure I give out the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I do. And it's nice when somebody's leaning back. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said reparations now, reparations forever. And then he said, let there be light. Let light shine on things. And that's what I love doing with Big C Sports. I'm only one beautiful, intelligent black man. I always produce the show. That's number one. Number two, I direct the topics. Number three, I broadcast all the shows. Number four, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. Number five, the commercials are done. Number six, the stats are provided. Number seven, the storytelling. Number eight, the play-by-play. Number nine, I upload the show that goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimner Hills, California. And then, number 10, well, I never missed a show since doing the show with Big C Sports with the crew back in the days at Salem Media. Rising and shining through good and bad days. Joy, pain, sunshine, and rain, always rising and shining. Because that's what God says to do. If you're an eagle, you're supposed to fly. Give eagles some praise for flying. We all gotta fly. Don't be down it. Sometimes you feel great. Sometimes you don't feel great. But what you do in life is you realize the show must go on. It always goes on. In life, somebody's always counting on you to show up. And sometimes you can't show up. Just let them know if you can't show up. But I love showing up with Big C Sports. I want to give myself some praise. I want to give myself praise for that. You know, sometimes you ever have a miscommunication and sometimes you have miscommunication in life. Sometimes people can misconstrue what you say. You can say, I meant for you to turn right at the end of the hill, and you turn left. And then sometimes someone said, I meant for you to turn left at the end of the hill, and you turn right. Well, that's called communication. A lack of communication can come up. It can be in personal relationships or also business relationships. I had an epiphany today. Would you like to hear it? Yeah. So back in the day, I was driving with a lady in sales, and I love just doing business. And the lady looked at me as we were driving. She said, I could really use a good fuck. I said, what? She said, I'm so hungry, I could use a good fuck. And me understanding, I didn't know what she was saying. It's like a double entendre. Now, I love women, but it don't mean that everyone's for me. And this was a friend of mine. In fact, we've been on sales calls together. But she looked at me and said, I could really use a good fuck. I was like, well, I'm a man. What should I do with that proposition? And she said, well, could you use a good fuck? And I said, well, not right now. I got work to do. Because I didn't know what she was saying. She's different ethnic group, so I couldn't understand her English, a little bit broken English. But you understand how that can be misconstrued if a woman looks at a man and says, I could really use a good fuck right now. I mean, I'm a man, right? Listen up, ladies. A man can say the same. I can use some really good pho right now. But if it comes from someone with a different dialect, you may misunderstand. It's called a double entendre. And so I said, well, you know, we're friends and everything, so let's just focus on business. She said, so you're not hungry? I said, not really. She said, well, would you mind just dropping me off so I can get a good pho? And I said, what? She said, I said, what kind of pho you talking about? She said, well, there's Pho City, there's Pho Saigon, there's Pho King Noodles. I was so relieved. I'm still a man. And when a woman looks at a man and says, I could use a really good pho right now, because the English is broken. Well, that may seem a little bit funny. It could also be where a man said, well, yeah, let's go. Where you want to go? And she wanted to go to Pho City, Pho Saigon, or Pho King Noodles. I just want to say, communication, how you take it, is not always meant the way a person said it. So in business, with people dealing with each other, especially men and women, what do they say? Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So whatever it is, sometimes people take things the wrong way. I told you turn right at the end of the hill. You turn left. You don't listen. Well, in my eyes, left and right sound like the same turn to me. But you just got to ask for clarification. But I remember the lady asked me, she said, I can use a really good pho. And because I'm not from her culture, I didn't know what she meant. I thought she was flirting with me. And I didn't pay much attention. She said, I could really use a good pho right now. She said, you want to go get some pho? And I was like, no, not really. She said, you're not hungry? I said, well, kind of, but not really. She said, well, let's go get this Pho City, this Pho Saigon, and Pho King Noodles. She prays without understanding. But I stayed in the business. I didn't deter because I thought she was being propositioning me. So give being proposition some praise and don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe if that makes sense to you. I wanted some Pho King Noodles too. I had some today and they were really, really good. In fact, I brought some home. Oh, Lord have mercy. I want to say thank you I want some Pho King reparations now. Reparations forever. Oh, Lord have mercy. Pho King Noodles. Who would name a rep like that? I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force because of mine is a terrible thing to waste. And in fact, I could use some Pho King votes also. That pho is pretty good. It's called pronounced pho. But to me, it sounded like she said pho. But it's the same pronunciation, just different semantics. Tennessee, tomato, potato, Mississippi, New Orleans, Nolans, same thing. People have different ways of pronouncing things. But she said she could really use a good pho, and I thought she was flirting with me. But I understand it's pho noodles. Give noodles some praise. Love pho noodles. You want to get me some more? Those Pho King noodles, they're amazing in Northern California. But I thought that lady was flirting with me. I said, she's pretty bold. At the same time, I want us to all be bold, whether you like Pho King noodles or not. You got to make sure that I will always honor California Reparations Task Force, even though some of our Republican brethren in New Hampshire, they got a chance to do what they did not do last time. They got a chance to do what Big C Sports has been doing, even though I had some Pho King noodles today, and boy, they were good. But I want to make sure that I pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because of mine is a terrible thing to waste, and so are some Pho King noodles. Don't want to waste none of them. In fact, I brought some home, if that makes sense to you. I want to thank the chair, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank oh my goodness. Oh, me Latin strike! I want to thank the Vice Chair, Dr. M.C. Brown. He's brilliant. Just on MLK Day, I went to the march, and then I went to a restaurant called Fixins, which is owned by former NBA great, and Kevin Johnson, the former mayor of Sacramento, California. And the reason that the Kings are still in town, even though they don't pay homage to him. But I met, coming out of a car, Dr. Amos C. Brown. There was a guy that got out of the car, sharp brother. I said, brother, you look like you're running for president. He said, thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you. And I said, seriously, if you're running for president, I give you my vote just by how you carry yourself. He said, man, I appreciate it, brother. God bless. So he walks inside so he could get some poking noodles also. And he came back in about 2 minutes, and he went to a car, and he opened the car, and get out of the car was Dr. Amos C. Brown, part of the California Reparations Task Force. And I looked at him, he said, Mr. Curry. I said, Mr. Amos Brown, how are you, sir? He said, Mr. Curry. And he remembered me, I guess, from the task force. I had taken some pictures with him at some of the reparations rallies in Denver Hills, California. And so I gave him, I said, I just want to show you this picture we took last time. He said, will you please send that to me? Let me give you my cell number. In fact, his cell number is area code. I'm not going to give it out because people might call it. But I texted him the picture, and then I called him later. He said, thank you. And I invited him to an event. It's an amazing event, an epic event, a seminal event in Northern California on January 27, 2024. And we're going to have the Department of Insurance Commissioner there. Going to have also members of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, other people with dignitaries that are part of Governor Gavin Newsom's office, and many attorneys that do the representation for long-term care planning, how it is actually something that it's a mandate, but it's also something that you can get without paying excess money for it. It's an entitlement. You know how white people feel entitled to everything. It's an entitlement for everybody, not just white people. Oh, there you go again, Big C. Well, the Homestead Act was an entitlement for white people because the United States government gave them over 276 million acres of land, and also white Europeans. So no wonder they feel entitled because the government gave them everything. But when the black people showed up and said, well, can we get our 276 million acres of land called the Homestead Act of 1862? You know what they were told? No! It was just for white people. That's why a lot of people feel entitled. So there's entitlement for long-term care. People don't know about it. 9 out of 10 people don't know. I've talked to financial planners. They don't know. So as far as coming to the event, you got to RSVP because I got to sell enough cans to buy enough food. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And for those of you who say I talk too fast, 800-772-8624, and give that some praise. Because some people say I talk too fast, and maybe I do. At the same time, today I went down to the Senator Stephen Bradford's office and met with him with a colleague, Brother Aleem. Later, Double O went there to the same office, and I was able to take a picture with the number one senator of the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford, and took the picture with him and told him that as part of National Black Wall Street project, co-chair want to make sure that we support him on Senate Bill 490, which is reestablishing Freedmen's Bank, the same kind of bank that President Abraham Lincoln and Congress assigned back in 1865. It was March 3rd, I believe, 1865. And it was for black Americans to have a bank to put their money in. Because, the white banks don't want to lend to us. That's why they have redlining. Oh, there you go again, Big C, with those redlining. Ask the banks what redlining means and do they have it in their policies. Because black Americans couldn't get to banks. They couldn't put their money in the bank. So Senator Bradford took a picture with us, and I said, you have my vote for president. Oh, she said, oh, man, he said, man, I don't know if I want to do that. I said, if you running for reparations, then you got my vote. Give that some praise. Because the Lord is brilliant. He created name, image, and likeness. So college athletes get paid under name, image, and likeness. It used to be only for the entitled white coaches who would pull a scholarship if an athlete was caught taking a steak dinner. The $35 steak dinner. Even a cheap $5 steak dinner, you can lose your scholarship if you got a steak dinner, and these guys are making several $1 million a year. Well, Senator Bradford created the leveraging. The leveraging is name, image, and likeness. You can get paid on your name, image, and likeness. White coaches felt entitled to that. In fact, some of them still feel so entitled, they want to punish kids who have the name, image, and likeness. Say, if you're going to change schools to better your life, you got to sit up for a year. They're not telling white coaches if they change schools that they got to sit out for a year. They're still trying to attack the young black athlete. They're not concerned about the white athlete. Most of them got jobs lined up when they get out of school through nepotism and cronyism. And then Senator Bradford, he's helped sponsor the Ebony Alert that helps young law enforcement put the same resources into finding young black children when they go missing as they do into the Amber Alert that helps find young white children. Why we need two different alerts, Big C? Because law enforcement treated missing black children different than they treated missing white children. But he got that passed. You know, he's also on the California Reparations Task Force. That's why I say I love giving him praise, and he put Senate Bill 490 into legislation with, I think, 12 different laws, and people can vote. If they're voting on it as we are breathing, are you breathing? Or are you just standing up for the kickoff and standing up to see who's going to hit a three-point basket? And then we took a picture with him today, and I told him I appreciate you. I want to support you. And not only did I tell him that, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm supporting him right now. I want to give him some praise because he's brilliant, and I appreciate him. And he even said, you dress nice. Appreciate that, sir. At the same time, I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to a council member, Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to our attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. And I want to give praise to Donald K. Tamaki, attorney at law, Japanese American part of the California Reparations Task Force. As a Japanese American through the internment camps, he has already received reparations. I want to give him all praise. And he's trying to help black folks get our money too. No one can say we don't deserve reparations because it's out there. So many people have already talked about it. It's so important to me. I want to play a special scene from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I want you to get your thoughts. Here's what Dr. King said about reparations. They won't talk about it in New Hampshire.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
You got to give that some praise because Dr. King is keeping it real. And what I love about what I'm doing with Big C Sports is I pay homage to the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I know we love sports. Sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to that billion-dollar industry. But as black Americans, we don't own any sports teams. Oh, that's not true, Big C. What about Magic Johnson? Magic Johnson's just a part owner, minority owner, no pun intended, a minority owner of the Washington Commanders. He's not the owner. And when Dr. King talked about that, we have black men and women that go into sports camps. I'm not antithetical to sports camps, but for the most part, we got to pay to be part of a sports camp, to be part of a sports team, whether it's AAU or even paying for uniforms, playing high school football. Whatever it is, we got to pay for something that we don't own. And all I'm saying is we as a people with reparations here, it's more important than the Super Bowl. It's more important than the NBA championship. It's more important than the World Series. Why is it more important? Because reparations now, reparations forever. That's for us. I'm going to play one more skit from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on Big C Sports Podcast.
I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I want to say, as part of Big C Sports Podcast, that speech means so much to me that I want to talk about what he said about coming to get his check. Because it's a call for good people of all faiths, religions, colors. Because he was right. And people love Dr. King now. Especially our black athletes. They loved MLK Day. I see the NBA players live the dream. I have a dream. The dream lives on. But why don't we say what Dr. King said when he was talking to Congress, that we're coming to get our check? Why is that such enmity about black people getting what was due from 1619 to 1865 and then 100 years of Jim Crow? I know he played touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. Light the beam, light the beam, light the beam. I know there are enough decent white Americans. They know about the Homestead Act of 1862 that gave white people over 276 million acres of land. That gave them a tremendous head start. Oh, there you go again, BC, talking about head starts. Well, what would it mean to you collectively as a group if you were given over 276 million acres of land? Because with that land, it grows in value. The equity that you have from owning that land makes you well off. And with the compound interest, Einstein said is the eighth wonder of the world. From 1863, when that happened, it was talked about 1862, 1863, when that was given to even white Europeans, but they told black Americans no. You think that was fair? The people who worked this land from cradle to grave, do you think that was fair? That just like President Zelensky, a white person, could come to the United States and get money from our country, and black Americans could get nothing. Yeah, but you guys are good basketball players. You guys love sports. You guys are great dancers, great entertainers. You're good at entertaining us. What decent person would say no to reparations? We love Dr. King, the I Have a Dream speech. We come to get our check. And there are people in Congress right now that want to get their check. So meeting Senator Bradford today again, I've met him for about the fourth time, met him at other meetings for reparations rallies and task force. He's a very erudite man, a smart man. He's about action. In my life, you either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Don't wait for nobody. Some people are shucking and jiving. There's never the right way to say the wrong thing to the right person, and there's never the right way to say the right thing to the wrong person. Just ask God to guide your words and go do your thing. You're never going to please everybody. You just got to be the one that does it. That when I do my show, I ask God for favor. But my show is so factual, I even ask you to Google what I say. It's not about me. It's about ancestry. Part of it's about me. It's also about the next generation of black Americans. We didn't get that head start of the Homestead Act that was giving white people land and land grants in the GI Bill that helped them get education and houses. We didn't get that. And we still rise. Imagine if we were treated the same. And I'm calling on our decent white brethren to stand behind Senator Stephen Bradford helping create Freedman's Bank in California. I met with a lobbyist today. Her name was Jennifer, white lady. And I was taking a picture with Brother Aleem just to chronicle what we had done around the senators. My phone was full, I wouldn't take a picture. I asked her, excuse me, miss, would you mind taking a picture and just send it to me? She said, sure. She did not say no! And I said, we're here. She said, you look like a senator. What do you do? And I said, I'm representing National Black Wall Street Project. We're here to make sure we get reparations. We want to support Senator Bradford with Senate Bill 490. And I said, what do you do? She says, I'm a lobbyist. She's one of the largest lobbyists at the state capitol. How did God line her up with me? I didn't have a meeting with her. But she was right there, like waiting for me to say something to her. And I went over and spoke to her and asked her to take a picture and send it to me. And I gave her my card. She gave me her card. And I said, as a lobbyist, I want you to stand behind Senator Bradford in his push for reparations. I asked that to a white woman. You know what she said? She said yes. And that's why I'm saying there are enough decent white people. I know a lot of you are evil too. You know who you are. You have those private conversations behind closed doors. You see it on the Republican convention. They don't even talk about reparations. But you know who you are. You know what you say about black folks when you're behind closed doors because you're jealous or envious of the 9 Series DNA. But here's a white lady with recessive traits. I'm a black man with dominant traits. You can get the recessive trait from the dominant trait. You can't get the dominant trait from the recessive. That's Mendel. If Dr. Leakey was looking for the origin of man, he's discovered it in Africa. You can Google who they are. The world's foremost paleontologists and genetic scientists. So why would a white lady say yes when I told her I want to support Senator Bradford for reparations? And she's a lobbyist, one of the biggest lobbyists in the state cap. How did God put her there? So don't assume that all white people are evil. There's a lot of people that are evil. We know that. You see them stomping and asking for you to vote for them for president. They don't say nothing about reparations. They don't even want to talk about slavery and America's biggest sin. But this white lady said yes. I asked her, I want to get your support for Senator Bradford and reparations. She said yes. She could have said what Nikki Haley said, oh, I don't want to talk about that. You're just a plant. But she said yes. And she said, call me. And I want her to rally the white people that she works with as a lobbyist to support Senator Bradford, a beautiful, intelligent black man. Because we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome someday. And the way I was dressed, she asked me, was I a senator? I said, no. I'm co-chair of National Black Wall Street Project. So there are people who want to support reparations because they know they benefited from the land grants. They know they benefited from the Jim Crow laws that were separate and unequal. They know that. The smarter the people, the more they know that. It seems like the smarter the people, the more egalitarian they are. Now, there's some ignorant people too, and I'm not concerned about them, but they are asking for your vote. And I'm saying that's more important than who won a game. Because reparations is more important than the Super Bowl, but there are people playing on the Super Bowl this weekend. You have the 49ers playing the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Baltimore Ravens, they're playing the Houston Texans, and the Buffalo Bills are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing for a right to go to the Super Bowl. Why don't those black men talk about reparations for descendants of child of slavery? I'm not blaming this on the white people. I told you I just met a white lady I'd never seen her in my life outside of Senator Bradford's office. She didn't work for him. She's a lobbyist. I asked her to take a picture of me and my colleague. She said, sure. I said, my phone is full. She said, no worries. I'll take a picture. I said, then send it to me. And I gave her my card. She said, sure, I'll send it to you. And when I told her, she asked, was I a senator? I said, no. I'm part of National Black Wall Street Project, helping to get reparations to pass and supporting California Senator Stephen Bradford, Senate Bill 490. Would you tell your lobbyists to support it? She said, yes. Without equivocation, yes. She said, call me. So don't assume that because someone's white that they're evil. And I'm asking white politicians also to support that bill to reestablish Freedmen's Bank. I know you want to know who won the game. But there's a game being played right now, and if we too late for the kickoff, we're gonna lose. If we are too late for the kickoff, there's some people who won't be late for the game. If the game kicks off at 7 o'clock, they're there in the seat. And some people, they get there so early, they even tailgate outside of the stadium. I think in Kansas City, when they played Miami over the weekend, reports have it that there was about 24 people that were hospitalized for frostbite. You willing to risk frostbite for a game? But you won't go inside of a warm building to support Senator Bradford in his push for reparations? What's wrong with people? That's why the NBA, Adam Silver, you know I speak the truth. You know it. You make a fortune being the NBA commissioner because black men play the game. If black men boycott it until reparations are passed, you know the NBA would come to a halt. And you know it. Roger Goodell, NFL football. It's nice you have end racism on the back of end zones, but have a little bit more courage and support reparations. If black men decided to go on a strike, the NFL would collapse. And you know it. You make a fortune with those black men. You guys know it's true. I'm not lying. So what would it take for you, as an act of God, to say, how can we support reparations for descendants of child slavery? Most of them had ancestry that have making you wealthy now. Most of those NFL and NBA players, they're black Americans. They come from chattel slavery. And you make a fortune because they work for you. And you know it's true. They're replaceable. Pull a hamstring, get a broken leg, dislocated shoulder, concussion, you're out of the game. And you just put another one in there. Most black athletes, what are they, 75% of the NFL is black? 80% of the NBA is black? The majority of those men, they come from descendants of chattel slavery. That's the biggest issue in the history of this country when it comes to atoning for your sins. What will it take for you guys? Because you have access to a pulpit that black men don't have access to, unless they're rich and famous. And if you're a decent person, show it. I met a white lady today for the first time in my life, probably 40 years old, dressed like a lobbyist. And when I asked her, will she support reparations, she said yes. And then she said, call me. And we got some black folks that won't even do it. Oh, there you go again, talking about race. I'm telling you, there are more senators and legislators and congressional members that support H.R. 40 that are white than there are black. 172 co-sponsors of it. You can Google it. But don't assume that white people are all evil. I know a lot of them know they benefited from evil behavior, which is discrimination, Jim Crow laws, slavery. It was horrific. Draconian. And I know we just want to watch the game. Man, what time the game come on? The game for reparations? Or the game that you just want to be entertained? Have you not been entertained? It's important. And I know it's happening now because I know it's going to happen. I want to give myself some praise for just standing up behind it because I either lead, follow, or get out of the way. That's how I was raised. I don't wait for nobody. All I answer to is God and nobody else. Work with me or not, I answer to God. It's nice working with people. But don't sit back shucking and jiving. California bill proposes new state agency to handle reparations for black residents. Oh, are you still talking about that reparation stuff, Big C? Yes. And you should too. All of us should. Reparations for Californians who are descendants of black American slaves are one step closer to becoming a reality. Senator Stephen Bradford introduced Senate Bill 490. The first reparations-related bill is so powerful, introduced in the California legislature since the State Reparations Task Force submitted its final recommendations to report to the governor and legislature earlier this summer. You know who was there? Big C Sports was there. I just want to give that some praise. God is doing some things. So Big C going to a restaurant to get some collard greens, and I was tearing them up. When Amos Brown pulled up to go tear up his collard greens. That was on Monday. And then on a Thursday, meeting Senator Bradford, you got to give that some praise. You got to. It's so important to me that if we could get our black men and white men and black women and white women to really, if you love Dr. King and what he stood for, then support California Senator Stephen Bradford. I'm doing it. I'm not just talking about it. I want to give that some praise. Give it praise because it's real. We got to make sure this happens. We're not just sucking and jiving. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. We got to do it. Will you help? Or will you just sit back on the sidelines? We got to be a part of the solution. And I want to make sure
California American Freedmen Affairs Agency said to be in charge of one day overseeing and administering reparations to descendants of black American slaves.
In order to implement the reparations, whatever it looks like, you need a governmental agency or some type of oversight department to do so. So that's what this bill will do. Before you can even talk about what reparations look like, you have to put the infrastructure there.
As for what reparations will look like, lawmakers and the governor still need to hammer that out. But the Reparations Task Force received a lot of attention for its recommendation that the legislature consider what it describes as down payments to go to descendants of anyone who was a black American slave, as well as those in the black community whose ancestors arrived before 1900. At one point, the proposal suggested if descendants meet a certain criteria for the wrongs they've endured, coupled with the amount of time they've lived in California, then they could be eligible for up to $1.2 million. But Bradford, himself a member of the task force, downplayed that, saying reparations are about much more than any dollar amount.
And it's about more than any dollar amount. It's about housing. It's about land. It's about banking, free education, free health care. You know, you can't tell me that they're on the wrong side of law. In the eyes of God, if you steal something from somebody, you should give it back. And I just want to support that. I'll get into a little bit of sports too, because I know some people are so drunk in love in sports. But Senate Bill 490 is for the Freedmen's Bureau in California, and we're asking congressmen and legislators, will you support it? And I just told you, I met a lobbyist, she said yes. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. You heard from Dr. King, you heard from Senator Bradford, you heard from Big C Sports. I want you to give that some praise. I know some of us are so drunk in love with sports, I'm going to get into that too because I love it. I want to thank Double O, part of the PAC committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. And she had sent me an article, Executive Order 13985, and that was on President Biden's first day in office. He talked about what he would do that came with a promise for rebuilding communities, primarily communities of color. We have to have that happen. It's important that we all know that. I know you want to watch the game too, but that's important. It's been since 1619 we haven't gotten the reparations. And then there are people still saying, well, we just want to watch the game. No, we got to do more than just watch the game. I'm so emboldened. Executive Order 13985 is advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott of Florida, they reintroduced a Holocaust survivors' rights bill to Congress. In 2023, they did that. So we know Georgetown already promised over $1 billion and counting for reparations. United Nations also, their pro-reparations, Double O sent me that article, says that United Nations says that strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. Well, I'm telling you, I want to thank T-Mobile, proud sponsors of Big C Sports, America's largest 5G network. I want to thank PNC Private Bank, proud sponsors of Big C Sports Podcast. Give that some praise. You know, everybody has their own thoughts about it. I just want to say, I don't want to be like everybody else. I know Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp, they got so much praise for tearing down other black men because the gatekeepers, they love when we tear each other down. Just tear them down! Things that could be handled behind closed doors, they tearing down, trying to shame other black men. And so the white man says, see, they don't want reparations. They're too busy tearing each other down! And I just played you what Senator Bradford just said. Let's see how many people pay attention to him. And how many people give him praise. Dr. Claude Anderson, PowerNomics.com. Please get those books. Very eloquent person, erudite, a good man. I really do appreciate it. Also, Big C Sports. Praise Big C Sports. I'm growing all over the world. My audience, out of 251,000 podcasts on iHeartRadio alone, I'm in the top 1%. I'm going to give that some praise. That's amazing. Out of 250,000 people, I'm in the top 1%. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man on 29 platforms because I speak the truth. And you know what they said? They said the truth will set you free. I think that was Flip Wilson. But NBC News, they did a study on Big C Sports and got my thoughts on reparations March 30th, 2023, says Charlton Curry of Sacramento, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast. Cash papers are necessary. That same podcast is in the top 100 of 250,000 podcasts all over the world through iHeartRadio alone. Not to mention the other platforms. I produce my show. I don't have anyone producing my show. I have no three-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do it from my higher self called God. And I love doing that. You think it's easy, you do it. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Please Google HR 40, support reparations. Please Google AB 3121, support reparations. And please Google SB 490, support California Freedmen's Bank to establish payments for reparations. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it as we stand up for the kickoff. I want to bring something up to you that's really... It's so important that people have their own thoughts about it. As I told you earlier when I started the show, a lady back in the day on the sales call, she said, I could really use a good fuck. And I wasn't sure what she said. To me, it was a double entendre. She said, you want some fuck? And I said, not really. She said, you don't want some fuck? I said, no, not really. She said, well, I'm hungry. Could you take me to get some pho? It's pronounced pho, but it's a double entendre. I said, well, where you want to go to get some pho? She said, there's Pho City, there's Pho Saigon, there's Pho King Vietnamese food. I didn't know, but when I realized she was asking for food, I gave her some praise. I mean, I'm still a man. Pho is good if you like it, if that makes sense to him having some tonight for dinner. But I want to get into some boxing, and Lennox Lewis had a comment about Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, and talked about these two men fighting. See, I want the boxing community, we fight for the right to win the heavyweight championship. Let's get ready to rumble! What did we get our boxers champion reparations? Zero credibility. Lennox Lewis on Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou fight. And Lennox Lewis doesn't see what Anthony Joshua gains in fighting Francis Ngannou. It's about money. And when you think about it, Lennox Lewis is not a big fan of the fight between Anthony Joshua and the great Francis Ngannou, an MMA champion. It's going to take place March 8th at Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And Lewis does understand the money aspect. And when you think about the money aspect, reparations about money, isn't it, boxers? And why the fights are happening, particularly from the Ngannou side. If Francis Ngannou's fight with Tyson Fury, that Francis Ngannou won, but if you understand boxing, Fury's a champion. And even though he was the only one that hit the canvas, the judges ruled for him to win because they have more money invested in him going forward. They don't want a black guy coming in from the world of MMA winning that fight. So Francis Ngannou's fight with Tyson Fury was a spectacle. And the fight with AJ is also a spectacle. That's said by Lennox Lewis on social media. So, hats off for Ngannou for making the most of his opportunity. He has done nothing wrong. This is just the heavyweight division in the year 2024. I respect all athletes, especially these fighters. They get punched in the head. They get tied down. They get all kind of issues after the fight, CTE and all kind of issues. But what the former champion does not see is what Joshua gains from the fight perspective. In his opinion, this fight is about having zero credibility to AJ's Anthony Joshua's resume. He added he's supposed to win this fight, just like Tyson Fury was supposed to win. When he does, what does he gain or learn by beating Francis Ngannou? Now, if they were fighting MMA style, Francis Ngannou would have taken Tyson Fury out in about 30 seconds. And same thing with Anthony Joshua. So what does Anthony Joshua gain by beating Francis Ngannou in his second heavyweight fight? If he loses, then it's an absolute disaster. That's why the judges awarded Tyson Fury, who was laying on the canvas with a swollen eye. He got beaten by Francis Ngannou, but because the money's involved in supporting the champion, they couldn't tell you what your eyes showed you. You gonna believe me or your lying eyes? He's supposed to win this fight, and when he does, what does he gain? By beating Ngannou in his second heavyweight fight? If he loses, it's an absolute disaster. And the same stood for Fury, and it almost cost him everything. It's about money. So if they can talk about money for fighting, can't they talk about money for reparations? You don't even have to be a genius when it comes to fighting for reparations, because I just met with California Senator Stephen Bradford, and he's the biggest fighter in the history of the universe. He's fighting for centuries of black people, not just some guys who are already wealthy. And that's why I think it's important that we get our fighters to stand behind Senator Bradford. And Ngannou did, however, slice it up. He dropped and pushed Tyson Fury to a split decision over 10 rounds. Anthony Joshua obviously wasn't going to get a fight with Fury right now, and he's already lost twice to Alexander Usyk, who was also busy. But the March fight was, of course, supposed to be Deontay Wilder, but Wilder, obviously, he's been dealing with a lot of losses lately. On December 23rd against Joseph Parker, and now Joshua's 34 years old and wants big money fights now. There's one available, just like Floyd Money Mayweather and the guy that he fight, Conor McGregor. They made several $100 million, supposedly, in MMA versus boxing. Floyd Money Mayweather won that fight. Had it been MMA, then Conor McGregor would have won. They're different skills. But Joshua's 34, he wants the big money, and he's going to get it. There wasn't one available that would have been near what he's going to get for fighting Ngannou. Well, money talks. So boxing has lots of fights that lack on paper any intrigue for people to go out and spend money on it. And it always has. No one's saying this is a good thing, but it's a true thing. It's about the money. When you think about Muhammad Ali, he said, I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all I got to use, how can I lose? So Ali was about the big money. A lot of guys know it's about the money. That's why they do it. But Big C Sports, I'm just asking all of our great athletes, because some of our politicians are trying to see, well, we want to pass reparations, but we can't find a lot of black support verbally. Oh, they talk about it behind closed doors. They talk about it in their private rooms, in their private homes, with their friends, having libations. They talk about how we deserve reparations, but how many support a beautiful, intelligent black man who doesn't run a 4.340. He doesn't bench press 400 pounds. He doesn't have a three-point shot as good as Steph Curry. He does like golf. Trying to get the brother to play some golf with me. He likes golf, but he's also about his business. What if we just put our thoughts behind him? And that's what I'm saying. We got these great black athletes, multi-million-dollar athletes, and they got these NBA and NFL commissioners. Major League Baseball, if you want to be a part of it, but your black participation is down like 7%. So, Manfred, if you want to get involved, that's cool. But Roger Goodell and Adam Silver and the men that make you wealthy, black athletes, you should be supporting California Senator Stephen Bradford, because he's trying to do for the ancestry of those black players that make the NFL and the NBA wealthy. He's trying to do what you guys won't even do with your own mouth. Say, we support reparations. He's not asking you to pass legislation. He's already done it. He just asked you to go out and say, we support reparations. We support reparations. Many NBA and NFL stadiums will ask to be open during the election day so people will have a place to go vote. And they're saying they're opening up NBA arenas and NFL stadiums so people can hold the polling boxes there, the polling places, to make it easier for people to get out and vote. So we know you have your heart's in the right place. But I met this white lady today. I've never seen her in my life. I was going to take a picture with Brother Aleem and ask her if we should take a picture with her phone. My phone is full. His phone was full too. She said, sure. She said, what are you, a senator? I said, no, I represent National Black Wall Street Project. I'm a co-chair. And I said, we're here supporting Senator Stephen Bradford, Senate Bill 490, to help make sure we get reparations for descendants of child slavery. I said, what do you do? She says, I'm a lobbyist. She gave me a card, and I said, will you support the bill to help get reparations? She said, yes. She said, call me. if she's a white lady, a ubiquitous white lady, who is Adam Silver and Roger Goodell? Why won't you guys, you got access to the microphone. If a player gets in trouble, Draymond Green, he got suspended. Adam Silver, you took the time to suspend him, to get him some help. Because you said his behavior was aberrant. But what do you call your behavior if you're afraid to support reparations? And you come from ancestry that got them? What's your behavior? Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Support Senator Bradford. And you too, Roger Goodell. You know, when athletes, there's something called Spygate. I think the New England Patriots got punished for it. Because you said their behavior was not acceptable to the league. Conduct detrimental to the league. You suspend guys for engaging in conduct detrimental to the league. And I know you have a good heart. That's why I know you're going to support reparations. But a closed mouth does not get fed. If a white lady in California, in the senator's office, that I've never even met in my life, it took me 20 seconds to tell her why I'm there. She said, "You're a senator," after I asked her to take a picture and send it to me. I said, "No, I'm not. But I am co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. We're here supporting California Senator Stephen Bradford, his Senate bill SB 490, to make sure we get Freedmen's Bank so we can get reparations passed for descendants of child of slavery. You're a lobbyist? Based on your card, you're a lobbyist." She said she's a lobbyist. I said, "Will you support the bill?" She said yes. If she said yes, where's Adam Silver and Roger Goodell? And also Manfred also. I'm just saying, it's time for good people to come together, and don't assume that somebody's bad because they're different skin complexion. I know a lot of white people, they benefit from white skin privilege. They know it. The smart ones know it. The dumb ones know it too. At the same time, at the Martin Luther King rally that I went to in Sacramento, California, the state capital, when they had on the podium the speakers and dignitaries, there was a black man that I got a call. He's part of MLK 360. I gave him my card. And there was a Indian lady who was a mayor of a city in Northern California. There was another city member of the city hall that was there, that was Asian. There was another white lady there. She was part of electric company, SMUD. And there was a black pastor and a black entertainer and a black woman entertainer, male and a woman. You know, every single one of them asked for people to donate money to their cause. SMUD said donate money. The mayor said donate money. The lady of the city hall that I know said donate some money to a cause. The black man that stood up said donate money to a cause. But nobody talked about reparations. But they all talked about equality and we shall overcome. But you heard what Dr. King told us. We're going to get our check. If you really love Dr. King, then let's try to honor him and not be afraid to. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, Big C Sports. I love what I do. I get a lot of acclaim. I've gotten a lot of support from a lot of people. And I'm just asking for people to stand up and not be afraid. And it's not too bad to ask for what's right. And I so appreciate Senator Stephen Bradford and President Biden. You should join him. The time for studying is over. Governor Hochul out of New York joins California Senator Stephen Bradford. Gavin Newsom's joining him. It's time to cut the check. There are people that say no reparations, no vote. I want to change that. I want to say the person that supports reparations, we support you. If you support reparations, we support you. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every BC Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You could call Uber, you could call Lyft, you could walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't get behind the wheel of a car and drive after you've been drinking. The life you save may be your own or someone you love. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, back my popular man. I want to thank you for following Big C Sports. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day. Oh, that's right. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. Every time I listen to Big C Sports, it makes me want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And then I feel like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. And that's what they call Muhammad Ali. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that garbage on their own. If you know any man, woman, or child dealing with that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911 because no man, woman, or child should ever have to deal with that crap in their house. Nobody should have to go upside your head and you allow that crap. Call 911, things change when the police show up. Well, that's my story and I'm taking with it. What about honoring Abraham Lincoln, Big C? That's right. As we stand up for the kickoff and the tip-off, let's honor President Abraham Lincoln and Dr. Martin Luther King when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. Next time we go to Washington, we're coming to get our check. What did Abraham Lincoln and Dr. King talk about? They talked about reparations now, reparations forever. Let's say it like your team just won the championship. Say it like you're giving a prayer to God. God knows what's right. He said reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.